Welcome everybody to this next episode of Amate con Locura. Today I have the honor to share this space with His Grace Mahatma Das. He is a spiritual teacher from the Vaishnava tradition. Welcome, Your Grace. Thank you so much, Grace. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
For those who might not know you yet, could you share a little about your spiritual journey and how you came to the path of Bhakti Yoga?
I came to the path when I was 19, and I was searching. I always was searching. I think I was searching in the womb. Always searching, asking questions why, not following the crowd, so to speak. I read a book called Bhagavad Gita, the sacred text from India. Talks about yoga, karma, reincarnation, all kinds of wonderful things that I never learned growing up. And it answered all my questions. And I began practicing meditation. And then I decided I wanted to teach it and live it. And so I became a monk, and that's what I did. And eventually I got married, and eventually I started my own company where I could teach everything that I had learned, specifically how to apply it in life. Because if it's just applied for monks, then it doesn't really relate to most people. So that's what I do now.
When did you become a monk?
19.
At 19?
Yeah. I retired at 17.
You renounced everything.
I kind of internally had renounced long before, because I kind of saw the futility of just working and doing what everyone else did. Not that working is bad, but I wanted something different. And so, when I was 19, I was ready. I met my guru.
And who is your
A.C.
guru?
Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
He's the one who brought the Bhakti tradition to the West, 1965. I met him in 1969.
Wow, a long time
And
ago.
that was, very transformative to meet someone that elevated. And then I've been able to help people the same way I've been helped, and just transferring what I've learned and realized and seeing how it helps people. It's fantastic.
Amazing. Guru, what does being a spiritual teacher mean to you personally?
Being a spiritual teacher, most importantly, it means being an example of what you teach. Because if I teach something and I don't live it, it just confuses people. And people think, well, why don't you do it? Or does he do it? And if he doesn't do it, how can I be expected to do it? So what I found is, more important than what I say is who I am, because who I am is affecting people much more than what I'm saying. And so, as we evolve spiritually, our presence has a very positive effect on people. And the more we progress spiritually, the more positive the effect. Sometimes, there was one saint, I forget his name, maybe you know. He said, I teach all day, and sometimes at the end of the day I may say something. So it's, you're teaching by example. That's the most important thing. Of course, I follow a tradition. I explain it. I teach it. I help people. I guide people within that, how to apply spirituality in daily life. But I think the best thing is to show the example, and that's what people tell me.
Leading by example.
Yeah. Like, for example, my wife and I, we do a workshop on marriage. And every time we do it, I'll say something, and she'll say, well, I don't really agree with that. And everybody's kind of shocked, like, why would she say that? And I say, okay, all right. Then you explain it, and she explains it. Then I'll say, well, it's kind of what I said. And she'll say, yeah, I guess you did. And so people see us going back and forth like that, and they tell us that I learned more by your interaction than what you were teaching. So that's always the most important thing, what we're doing.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. Guru, how has the Hare Krishna movement impacted your life in a practical and emotional level?
Practical level, it showed me how to relate everything in my life to spiritual life, to not not see that I have a material side of my life and a spiritual, but to see it all as one. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I'm never lost to him, nor is he ever lost to me. So we see everything in this world belongs to God, and we use everything, whatever it is. I see my wife, she belongs to him. My daughter belongs to him. My son belongs to him. My guitar belongs to him. Mm-hmm. Everything belongs to him. So we don't see a duality, and that's one of the best lessons that I've learned, that the Hare Krishna movement has given me. Emotionally, it's given us a way to express our emotions spiritually, to love wholly, fully, because when you love God, then you've reached the pinnacle of love. And then when you love God, you can love everyone. You can give his love to everyone. And you can also, and be able to feel his love and be accepted by him. Like this is, love yourself. Well, if you know God loves you, then naturally you'll love yourself madly.
Amazing.
Yes.
Guru, in simple words, how would you define bhakti?
Bhakti means devotion, it means love. And so the practice of bhakti means receiving God's love and returning God's love. And then showing that love to everyone. Because everyone is our brother and sister, son and daughter of God. And so when we connect, yoga means connect, when we connect with him, then we naturally will show love to everyone. See everyone as part of the same family.
Yeah. Guru, what are some of the main misunderstandings people have on the Hare Krishna path or Bhakti Yoga?
The main oh, that's an interesting question. Well, I don't know. Well, maybe people think we don't work, we don't have normal lives.
Like
we don't
hippie style?
We don't have families, or we're all like useless to society. Sometimes people would ask my spiritual master, and said, why don't you open hospitals and feed people? And, we have some hospitals we do feed people, but he would always say, well, the biggest problem is ignorance. And if we remove ignorance, then so many problems are solved. It's like you can try to solve the ecological problems, but those problems stem from a problem inside of us where we want to accumulate more than we need. So if we help people become more peaceful, it starts to solve the ecological problems, because they need less. They're satisfied with less.
Wow.
There's less, so that's a big misunderstanding, that we're not helping the world. It's just on a different level. And there are also karmic influences that people don't understand, how certain activities create certain reactions. And we see lots of problems in nature, earthquakes, fires, tsunamis, etc. And of course, war and so forth. But there are karmic consequences due to our actions. If we educate people that this action creates a certain reaction, that's extremely valuable, because most people don't know. I mean, we kind of understand. You look at the world and go, things are like bad. Why are they bad? And well, there's bad things we're doing that are creating reactions.
As a humanity as a whole.
Yeah, totally.
The other day you said to me something about animal slaughter is the cause of the wars today.
If we put out violence, even if it's, we think, well, it's just animals. We're just killing animals, not a big thing. But it's violence. And if we put out violence, violence comes back. If we put out suffering, suffering comes back. If we, exploit the earth in not conscious ways, the earth's going to react. Yeah, so we see all of that. But most people don't understand the correlation. So I think that's so people think, oh, what are you Hare Krishna people doing? And you're just like, you're just having fun, singing and dancing, and avoiding responsibility. But we've taken big responsibility to help people.
Yes, just being on this path is a big responsibility.
Yeah, it is.
And acting in a dharmic way as you do it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's such a big responsibility.
We're practicing self-control. That's not easy. We're self-discipline.
Yes.
And we're taking responsibility for our actions, our words, our feelings, and trying to be good examples.
Guru, and what advice could you give to us who want to develop self-control?
I think the biggest pain that we experience, or one of the biggest pains we experience, is not being aligned with our head and our heart. So in our head we know what to do, but we don't do it. And for me, when I contemplated this, I thought, whatever pain there is in controlling myself is a lot less than the pain of not controlling myself and having to live with this feeling that I failed myself. I acted against my own values, my own integrity. So discipline puts us in alignment with our values, with who we are. And if we don't live who we are, we suffer, because we have to live with ourselves. So, you restrain yourself. It takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of restraint. It's not always easy. But if you don't, there's a lot more pain in the long run, because now you have to live with the fact that you promised yourself you'd never do this again, and you did it. Isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we do that. Everybody does that. And I don't want to be a person that I'm not. I want to be the person who I want to live in my highest ideals and be, living in my higher self, my spiritual self. And I want to always be focused on what's important. And so whatever is important for me, if I don't do it, then I just suffer. So self-discipline often comes from just being focused and reminding yourself what's important.
What's important?
That what you do, for me, spiritual life is most important, and I've been able to do it, although it's difficult. I follow very strict principles, but because it's so important to me, and I get so much from it, I'm able to do it, even though I don't always feel like doing it.
You do it because it's the thing that you have to do.
Yeah, because and if I don't do it, then
with that mentality. Yeah,
because I'm unhappy if I don't do it. So you do the difficult things. What's that saying? If you do the easy things, life becomes hard. If you do the difficult things, life becomes easy. Like that. Yeah, like that.
Sometimes when you do the easy things, like you think it's going to be easier, but then it becomes harder.
Yeah,
and when you do the difficult things, but it takes sometimes a long time to see the positive effects of the difficult things.
You live long enough, you'll find out. But it's better to learn first and not make the mistake. But,
Amazing.
The easy things are easy in the moment, but not in the long run. They have detrimental effects. And we're not, like everyone wants to be happy. And people are thinking, well, I'll buy my way into happiness. But you actually act your way. You become your way into happiness by who you become. You become a compassionate person, a forgiving person, a more spiritually evolved person. You manifest spiritual divine qualities. Then you'll be happy.
Amazing.
With having or not having. Because so many people have. But if you're full of anger, resentment, if you're not grateful, how are you going to be? How's money going to? Money doesn't solve that problem. You still have to live with that consciousness. So, so discipline, self-control, it helps you elevate your consciousness. And then you get to live with yourself, who is a compassionate, kind, loving person. That's beautiful.
Amazing. Guru, how can someone who doesn't belong to any particular religion still experience or practice bhakti in daily life?
Yeah, good question. You don't have to. Bhakti is really an awakening of our spiritual nature. So I like to tell people, well, imagine a time in the world when there was no religion. Before Christianity, before Islam, before Judaism, before Hinduism. And then ask yourself, well, what is spirituality? What would spirituality be to you if there was no religion? And spirituality means realizing I'm a spiritual being. And that's fundamentally what it is, and realizing my connection with the divine, which would not, we go back thousands of years, would not be confined to someone's definition of a particular faith, which can be problematic. So we're spiritual beings. That's our nature. And through meditation and other practices, we awaken that spiritual nature. And it has nothing to do with religion. My spiritual master used to say, the whole goal of spirituality is to come closer to God. You have a relationship with Him. You don't know what it is. It's beautiful. It's loving. You awaken that relationship. You can call that religion. He said, what's the use of your religion if it doesn't do that? And if you're doing that, then you've reached the goal of what spirituality is meant to be.
Guru, what does devotion look like in modern times when the world feels so busy and distracted?
Yeah. Well, what we do is we reserve the morning. Everybody, the morning. If you're not a morning person, you should be, because the morning is the most sacred time. The morning is meant for meditation, for study, for prayer, for journaling. Like, the morning is like your inoculation before you go out in this world and this culture which pushes us in all kinds of directions, but we may not want to go. We do our spiritual practice. We call it sadhana. We do it every morning, and then we remain fixed in our values, fixed in our intelligence as to what we want to do, what is right. So then the world can go the way the world's going. It's going to anyway, but it doesn't affect us as much because we're more fixed in our determination, our values, which we're strengthening every morning and making that divine connection. Could you imagine every morning, like I chant every morning, and I study every morning 2, 3, 4 hours. So you imagine, you imagine you're sitting in a room with God for 4 hours every day, just talking to Him, and He's talking to you. And then you go out in the world, you're fine. The world's not going to push you.
Okay. So you study 4 hours.
We're chanting, reading, studying. Yeah.
And the books that you read, is it like the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah. They're called Vedic literature, yeah.
Vedic literature.
They're very vast. You could not finish them in 100 lifetimes.
Wow.
And they're very beautiful. There's so much there. It's just like an ocean, endless ocean of knowledge and realization. And one of the things we find is that when you read, it strengthens your intelligence, your beliefs, because sometimes our intelligence gets clouded and we start wanting to do things we don't really want to do because we're kind of being pushed by media, social pressure, examples other people set, and so forth. So that studying keeps our intelligence very strong. It keeps us connected to what's important for us, because sometimes we forget, because we just get influenced by... And now with social media, the influence is stronger.
Guru, many people today are searching for meaning and purpose. From your perspective, what is the ultimate goal in human life?
To realize yourself.
To realize yourself,
and
self-realization.
And then realize your relationship with God, which is really what yoga means. That's the definition of yoga, is to connection.
Union.
So, like we say, Bhakti Yoga, connection, union through devotion. So we are eternal spiritual beings. This is not the first life, and it will not necessarily be the last life. And most of us identify just with our body. I'm American, you're Mexican, she's Italian, he's Indian, I'm a man, you're a woman, I'm older, you're younger. You know, that's with the body, but
it's the body.
The body's gone, then what am I?
Spirit.
Yeah. So none of that is who I am. Those are temporary identities. Like, I'm wearing this shirt today, I'm not wearing it tomorrow. So my identity today is burgundy. Your identity is green and brown. So tomorrow we change clothes. So now tomorrow I'll be blue. And maybe you'll be burgundy. Or maybe I'll be green and brown. So materialistic culture, materialistic civilization identifies with the body. So most people are just trying to enjoy their body because that's how we enjoy, and that's all we know.
And that causes a lot of suffering in the end, right? There's
Totally.
a lot of people that want to stay young, or if they don't have like a certain material thing, then they suffer because of that.
And you lose. Material things don't stay, and they're not perfect, and you can't, I wish I were different, I wish I were younger, I wish I looked like this, I had this body, had this brain, had this ability. And there's a lot of lamentation that goes on. Even when you get things, then you might lose them, and then it's actually worse. You suffer. But spiritually, you don't have to go for those things, because the soul is by nature blissful.
Wow.
So if you realize your spiritual position, then you're happy, you're good.
You're good to go.
You don't have to, I mean, it's like, it's so much work to be happy. It's like first you got to work all week to make the money so you can spend it on being happy. And there's no guarantee that what you do is going to make you happy. And even if it does, it's not going to last. It's, you have to do it again. But if you come to a spiritual platform, it's constant because it's who you are. So everybody's running for happiness outside when actually it's who we are. So it's like we're running away from happiness in the name of trying to find it because we don't realize it. It's within. It's like you're looking for wealth and you don't know that in your backyard there's a gold mine, and you sell your property because you're going to run out and look for a gold mine somewhere else.
Wow.
It's like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Guru, how can chanting the Maha Mantra transform someone's consciousness and emotional state?
Because we have a pure state of consciousness. We are, but it's just covered. Like everybody is pure by nature. It's like the sun's out, but on a cloudy day you don't see it. Doesn't mean the sun's not there. So we're clouded. We live in this world, this material world, we get clouded. What are we clouded by? Lust and anger and greed and envy and jealousy and all of that. Chanting removes that. So it removes the clouds. When the clouds are removed, you realize your spiritual nature, then you're happy, you're enlightened, and you realize that you're eternal. So then one of the greatest gifts of spiritual life is you lose your fear of death because you realize you don't die.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, what could be better? You can be happy all the time and not afraid to die. That's pretty good. I'll buy that.
Guru, how do we know if we're truly progressing on the spiritual path?
Because we are becoming detached.
Okay.
From
detachment.
Detached from selfishness.
Okay.
Detached from material things that are just giving me fleeting pleasure because I'm finding something better. So naturally, as I evolve spiritually, ordinary material pleasures are less interesting to me. I mean, just think. If you see someone who's very spiritually evolved, you would naturally not expect he'd be showing up with 2 girlfriends and smoking a cigar and driving a sports car. You're just like, of course, you wouldn't. You would consider he probably lives a fairly simple life, very detached, doesn't have many things, because if he's evolved spiritually, he wouldn't need those things. So I think everybody understands that. And so when you practice spiritual life seriously and you have a regular daily practice, you start to lose interest in some of the things you used to be interested in because you're gaining a greater pleasure from your spiritual practice. You don't even have to try. It just happens.
It just happens naturally.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's like if you have your favorite restaurant and your friend says, oh, this other restaurant's better, and you go to the other restaurant, it's better. Well, you don't go to your favorite restaurant anymore because this one's better. But you didn't consciously decide not to go. It's just that one's better. So as you experience in spiritual life things are better, you're just other things you used to do, you just stop doing, and one day you wake up and you go, oh, I haven't done that in a month. That's what happened to me.
Wow.
I was going to school in the late 60s, university. So, late 60s was crazy. And I was in one of the most crazy places in America at that time.
California.
Berkeley, California. So
there was a lot of drugs at that time, no? It was like the LSD party.
It was like, Berkeley's across from San Francisco, so that's where it all happened, in the West Coast. And marijuana, LSD, mescaline, all that, that's just normal. And that was the sexual revolution. That's when it all started. And so I started practicing what we call Krishna consciousness. I was studying Bhagavad Gita. I was chanting Hare Krishna. I was associating, we call it Sangha, associating with spiritual practitioners, which is extremely important.
Yes.
Because you get influenced by them.
Exactly.
So I was doing that, and after a month, I woke up one day and I thought, you know, I haven't taken any drugs and no sex, no this or that. And I wasn't even trying consciously to stop it. I mean, I wanted to stop it. I always wanted to stop it. There's so many things we want to stop, but we never do. So I wanted to stop it. And then I woke up one day and I said, oh, that's interesting. I haven't done this and I don't even care to do it.
Wow.
So, you know, because you're going up. So if your consciousness is down here, then you need certain things. When your consciousness is up here, you don't need what's down here. That was like, oh, those are old toys. You know, I've grown out of those old toys. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And Prabhupada was there in your Sangha in California.
Yeah.
That must have been amazing to meet
him. I met Prabhupada in Los Angeles, and I received initiation from him.
Wow.
In the temple there, that was 8 blocks from where I grew up.
Okay.
I was getting initiated by him, and my parents had no idea.
Were your parents okay with that? They weren't.
No, I mean, you know, if you're in university and you have the capabilities of becoming successful and you drop out, your parents are like obviously upset. What speak of drop out and become a Hare Krishna, which was so new then. You know, Hinduism in the West.
Yes.
It was very new. There weren't that many Indians. Yeah, it was hard. But
Guru, how can we stay spiritually grounded in a world filled with so much noise, distraction, and technology? It goes a little like the other questions.
Yeah, by being around spiritually minded people.
The Sangha. By having
Having
good
the Sangha and having a daily practice.
Starting from the morning.
Yeah, and reading spiritual books.
And reading spiritual
and
books.
Meditating. We chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. You can all chant that. Try that 5-10 minutes a day. 1 week, your life will be completely changed, or your money back.
Guru, what advice would you give to someone who feels disconnected from God or from their own heart?
I'd have to know why they feel disconnected. I think some of it can be due to maybe the religions that they were raised in, or maybe their family was professing to be religious but not acting that way. And it's unfortunate that we may have bad experiences, but I would just say that we are children of God and He loves all of us. And so if you just go with that, and that He wants you to love Him back. That's all He wants. And He doesn't judge you. He just gives. He loves and gives, and He doesn't judge. And that's what we all want.
Yes.
You know, sometimes we might see God like our parent. And if our parent wasn't loving, then we can see God, you know, if our parent is very disciplinary or unloving or hard, and we could see God that way. And then we look at the world and we're trying to make sense of the suffering and how could there be a God. And so we shouldn't see God like a unloving parent. We should see Him as a loving parent.
Like a loving parent.
And we should understand that what's going on in the world, there's so much karmic reaction. You know, if you burn your hand while you're cooking, it's not God's fault. You know, you're supposed to use the fire to cook. That's why He gave it, not to burn yourself. So, you know, He gives us this world and it's misused, and we suffer. But anyway, He doesn't want us to stay here. He wants us to go back to Him. So we can do that also.
How do you personally deal with challenges, doubts, and moments of discouragement?
Well, I've learned long ago that the worst thing that can ever happen in your life is to allow your discouragement to discourage you.
Okay.
So I say, even if you're discouraged, don't be discouraged, because that discouragement will kill you. And so sometimes you have to act against how you feel, because you know you need to go this way, and the way you feel, you won't go anywhere. So you have to force yourself. So sometimes you have to act your way into thinking differently. So sometimes it's just have to fake it. Yes, it's time to do this. It's the last thing I want to do. And as soon as I say what I'm going to do, I lose all the energy in my body and I want to go to sleep. And I go, yes, we're going to do this. Yes. So sometimes, because I know it's good for me. So sometimes you just have to fake your enthusiasm.
Fake your enthusiasm.
Because
I like that.
if you allow yourself to get discouraged, it's like death.
Okay.
Especially if you're discouraged about what's really important to you,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, forget it.
Okay. How can relationships become a path of spiritual growth instead of attachment and suffering?
Because, like I was saying before, like, you take example of my wife.
Mhm.
I don't see her as mine.
Mm-hmm.
I say she doesn't belong to me. And I'm in this relationship with her to help her in her spiritual life and material life, and she's helping me. So we don't identify, this is my body, this is my house. We identify, well, this belongs to Krishna, belongs to God. My body, her body, our house, everything. And so we have a lot of respect for one another. Anything that you see as sacred, you respect, right? I see you as sacred, I respect you. If I don't see you as sacred, maybe I'll try to get something from you, take advantage of you or whatever. So the same in a relationship. People come into relationships wanting to get more than they want to give. You are mine, and you have to treat me this way. That's like difficult, isn't it?
Yes. And that's what, like, usually the culture, that's what it pushes us to.
Yeah.
That when we have like a partner, he's mine, and he can't be anybody else's partner. And I think, exactly, that's what causes suffering, the attachment.
Yeah. So we one of the basics of bhakti is that the nature of the soul is to serve. It's our fundamental nature, our dharma is to serve. So husband serves the wife, wife serves the husband. That's the idea. We serve. That's what we do. And if you serve, you'll be happy. And if you take, you'll get frustrated.
And then you serve God.
Yes, we help serve one another. Yeah, I see her as God's, and and help her.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, non-possessive.
Non-possessive.
At least in theory, it's supposed to be that way.
Yes.
That's what we're trying for. Yeah.
Guru, the name of my podcast is Amate con Locura, which means love yourself crazy. From your perspective, what does it truly mean to love oneself?
Well, it depends on your conception of self.
Okay.
So if you just identify with your body, then to love yourself means to go to the salon and get your nails done and get a massage and get your hair done and take a few days off and just sleep and like that.
Spa day.
But if you're a spiritual being, then it's to take care of yourself spiritually, to take care of your divine connection, to make sure that whatever you're doing in your life is bringing you closer to that connection. Because that's the self. That self, that spiritual self is connected to the Supreme Self.
Sadhana.
Sadhana. Also being kind on yourself, not beating yourself up, not basking in guilt and shame because you failed to be perfect and all that. Because when you take the spiritual life, your ideals go up, your aspirations are higher. And, to be disciplined is difficult. And so we expect more of ourselves. So there's always a liability that if you expect more of yourself, when you fail, you'll beat yourself down.
Yeah, sometimes I remind myself a lot that perfection belongs to God.
Yes, yes.
So we're humans, and if we're passing through this human experience, then it's because we have faults, inevitably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's okay. So now and again have a mistake.
Yeah. It's very okay. It's very normal. But it's interesting. It's not so much what we do, but why we do it. It's not so much the result, but why we're doing it. Because let's say you did something perfectly, but it was just to take advantage of somebody. So the whole motive is bad. Or you tried to help somebody, you didn't do it perfectly, but that's better because it's better for you and it's better for the world if our motives are pure. So it's like, why?
It's the intention behind the action.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you doing this? So that's part of the way Krishna, God, sees us. It's like, why are you doing it? What's your motive? And if your motive is to please and to serve, that's perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect any other way, because that's perfect in and of itself. So that's
like
really
that.
that's really important. Yeah.
So in the end, everything's perfect
On the spiritual platform, if your motive is
on the spiritual platform.
if your motive is pure, it's perfect. Yeah.
No matter what the outcome is.
Yeah. We could say generally, at least. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, offer me a fruit or a flower or a leaf or water.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it in devotion, I will accept it. So those are insignificant things. So God's not looking for, big things from you. Little things are fine if done with devotion. That's what he wants. He's got everything anyway, so what are you going to do to impress him?
Amazing.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Guru, how can we balance self-love and humility without falling into ego or self-neglect?
Yeah. And low self-esteem.
And low self-esteem.
Which is, humility is a big topic. And humility it's a very foreign topic for most of us. Because when we look at humility, sometimes we equate it with low self-esteem or lack of self-confidence or being taken advantage of.
Taken advantage of.
But humility is actually strength. It's the strength of those who are spiritually evolved because, big ego is not strength. Big ego is just a person's weak and they're compensating
Yes.
for their weakness and the lack of self-confidence. And a person who's humble doesn't lack self-confidence. It's just they don't try to draw attention to themselves. Like, look at me. I just did this. I'm great. Everybody clap for me. They want to serve. So they want to help people. They don't want to try to get people's applause. So that's what humility is all about. And spiritual life means humility. Humility means spiritual life. And material life generally means pride.
Wow.
Arrogance, ego. I want to be, isn't it like first when a person meets you, the first thing they say is, what do you do? Mm-hmm. Oh, I collect trash. That's what I do. You don't want to say that. You want to say, I have this and I own this and I wrote this book. And, that's what we want to say. A humble person, say, what do you do? And they say, I just try to help people. It might have written 100 books, been famous, Nobel Prize. They won't even talk about it. It's not their intention to be in the center. Their intention is to help people. So that's what humility means. It's not, we're a long way, but spiritual life means. I have a course on humility, and it's called Happy Small. Small is happy, small is powerful.
Okay.
So that the ego is not powerful. Being small, that requires power.
Yes.
And when you're small, as spiritual beings, we are small. So it's just realizing that we are small. That's all.
And we're all the same.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. Yeah, exactly. I'm not better than you.
Mm-hmm.
You're soul. I'm soul. I'm not better than an ant. I'm not better than a dog. We're all souls. That's humility. Now, it gets mixed up with emotional problems, that's difficult because part of humility means to be honest about your own faults, mistakes, and like that. And if you have low self-esteem, you don't want to look at all of that. It's difficult because you're always looking at it, and you're always feeling bad. So it requires a little bit of adjusting for people who want to practice humility, who have low self-esteem. Low self-esteem tends to draw attention to us. We want sympathy, we want people to pull us up. But humility doesn't draw attention to us, it draws attention to God. And we recognize He's giving us intelligence and power. That's where it comes from. That's part of humility, means where do you get your intelligence? Everything you've done that is great, where did that come from? The person with the ego says, me. The spiritual person says, came from God, through me.
That's also like a term in Karma Yoga, knowing that everything that we have comes from God.
Yes.
And everything that we do is for God.
Yes, and He's empowering us to do it. And ego, what we call false ego means, I did it.
I did it.
Oh, that was a nice kirtan you led. Yes, I did it. As opposed to Krishna's mercy. God's mercy. It was coming through me.
Yes.
Comes through me, And it's his power, it's not mine. That's humility. And ego is, it's my power. And so the height of ego is atheism. Then there's nothing beyond you. You are the, you, whatever good you did, that was you. There's nobody else.
And that in the end can cause suffering as well.
Yeah, and in the middle and the beginning.
In the middle and the beginning as well. What is the role of compassion and forgiveness in Bhakti Yoga?
Yeah, Bhakti is made of compassion and forgiveness. And it's one of the most outstanding qualities of anyone who's spiritually evolved. The compassion really means to feel the suffering and to feel suffering of others, but not being able to tolerate their suffering and to do something to relieve it. And so, if I am compassionate, I will automatically forgive, because why would I want you to suffer? For, you say, you did something to hurt me. Just don't worry about it. That's compassion.
That is the biggest compassion.
Yeah.
When somebody does something to you and you're like, okay.
And it's compassion to yourself also, because if you don't, you'll suffer, because you'll carry that resentment in your heart and it'll pollute you.
And how do you let go of that resentment in your heart when somebody has done something that really hurt you?
It's essentially done through compassion.
Okay.
That
Developing.
If you look at any spiritually evolved person, they're like unlimitedly forgiving.
Wow.
That's their nature. That's just because there's compassion. So if you're compassionate and you're humble, you're going to be forgiving, because you don't want to see people suffer, and you don't want to see them suffer on your own account.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone comes and says, "Please forgive me," you're not going to say, "No, that was too bad what you did."
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, or maybe even, maybe a little easier to understand, is that every person who comes into your life and creates a problem for you is a teacher. And if you just allow yourself to learn, then it's like, then you realize, actually, they didn't do anything wrong. I needed to learn that. And
that is the best thing you said to me today. So everyone is a teacher.
I have a PowerPoint on that. Yeah, I created a conversation with God and said, like, why do you allow suffering? And the whole conversation was, there's so much you needed to learn, and I was just giving you a chance to learn it. And if you didn't learn it the first time, I have to do it again and again. And once you learn it, I don't have to create that problem for you anymore.
So people come many times as lessons.
Exactly. We call them abusers, but they're actually teachers. If you can learn from them, then they're your teachers. Like, I have a course in forgiveness, which we're actually going to be online on February 15th, 16th, I think.
15th, 16th?
If it's Saturday and Sunday, if it's the 15th.
November?
16th, yeah.
Okay,
It's gonna be
15th,
online.
16th of November, 2025.
We'll have to give you the info, yeah.
Okay.
And in that course, I talk about what I learned through forgiving, and I learned amazing lessons that I could have never learned unless somebody hurt me. So I had to be hurt to learn the lesson. So one of the first things I teach, if you've been hurt, you're really fortunate, because now you're going to learn how to forgive, and once you learn how to forgive, you're going to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be in a really amazing place. You're going to be living with compassion. You're going to be living with understanding. You're going to be living wisely, because you were hurt and you wanted to learn to forgive. And if you were never hurt, you'd never learn to forgive.
Wow.
How do you learn tolerance unless there's something to tolerate? There's a saying, like Cahill Cabran, he said, like, I learned tolerance from the people that bothered me. I've learned this from all these people. I learned these different lessons, and they're all people who are creating problems for me. I learned silence from the talkative.
I learned silence from the talkative.
Like I learned what not to do when people treated me a certain way. You can learn so much. But if you're always looking to punish and get back. And another thing is, all people are doing is triggering us. So, the resentments we have, it's just that we were triggered. by something, and if we didn't have those triggers inside, we'd be fine. They wouldn't bother
Yes.
us.
So those triggers, they create an emotion, right?
Yeah.
And that emotion doesn't feel good.
But you have to ask, why did what that person do trigger me? Like, what's going on for me? Why is that trigger there? When I became a Hare Krishna, my mother kind of just rejected me.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, after I was a monk, I got married, and then my wife just one day said, "I'm leaving you." It's like, so like rejection, like I'm like hit.
Triggered you.
So this big resentment I had later in my life was betrayal. It was rejection because I was wounded. So that person triggered me. That's where the resentment came from. If I don't have those wounds, I wouldn't have had a resentment. He would have just left, and I would have said, "Oh, well, whatever." And later on, what I learned was that I was hurt that he left, but he was more hurt leaving. He was really hurting, and I didn't see his hurt until I forgave him. And when I forgave him, I saw his hurt, and I thought I should have helped him. But I was so angry with him, I couldn't. What a lesson, huh? And if I didn't have that betrayal, I would have never would have been upset in the first place.
That is so beautiful.
And you want to hear, oh, this is so cool. I'm
crying now.
I was holding this resentment for maybe like 18 years. And I was feeling completely betrayed. Like, how could you do that? You you just left everything. And, he was like running so many things, in charge of so many things that I was working with. And it all fell apart. 18 years later, I saw him. I had forgiven him. So once you forgive, it's like all that negative emotional bond, toxic, whatever, it's gone. So I saw him. I went up to him. He put his head down. He wouldn't look at me. And he said, "Please forgive me. I know I disappointed you. I know I let you down," which is exactly how I was feeling for 18 years, not knowing that the day he left, he was already feeling that he had disappointed me. And I was hating him. Isn't that weird? And I'm supposed to be a Hare Krishna devotee full of compassion. What a lesson that I had to learn.
That's amazing.
Through forgiving. So you learn through forgiving.
Through forgiving.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful, Guru.
And
Thank you so
and
much.
if you stay victim, you don't learn. Right?
Yes. What message would you like to share with those who are just beginning their spiritual journey?
Oh, yes. If you're just beginning your spiritual journey, you have to have a daily practice. Get up in the morning early. That's your sacred time. That's your sacred place. Even people who are not on a spiritual journey do that. You need association of spiritual people. You need to study spiritual books, and you need to have mantras.
Mantras.
Yeah. I can give it all to you if you want.
Yes.
You can. We have a book. I would suggest they read my book, Spiritual But Not Religious.
Oh yeah, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
So I wrote a book called Spiritual But Not Religious because I was meeting so many people who were, just kind of dissatisfied and disheartened by religion, but they were very spiritual. And so it was a book to extract the essence of spirituality as I've learned it and practiced it, and written for people on a spiritual path. As a book I wish I would have had when I started. It's like, okay, where's the book I needed? I say, well, 50 years later I could write it. Mm-hmm. So it goes through all aspects of spirituality with not, it's not religious. And we talk about how to find happiness without, the whole materialistic thing. We talk about vegetarian. We talk about reincarnation, karma, meditation, just defining what spirituality is, defining what success is. What about Guru, the nature of God? That's really great. And we have it in Spanish now, and any day now it's going to be available in English.
Amazing.
So we'll have to give you all the links so you can give everyone.
Yes, we're going to put all the information that he gives me in the platform, and all the platforms that we're going to be transmitting this podcast.
Fantastic.
Guru,
Yes.
if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self when you first started walking this path, what would it be?
Don't run away from how you feel. Don't suppress your feelings. Don't run away from them. And Be honest with yourself. Face yourself. Face your stuff.
Thank you. And one last question.
Okay.
Could you share a mantra or a short spiritual practice that our listeners can take with them after this conversation?
Yeah. The only mantra that I would share is the mantra I already shared, but we'll share it again. This mantra, I chant this mantra every day for a few hours, and I've been doing it since I was initiated when I was 19. And by far, this is the most powerful spiritual practice I've ever done. I did meditation before, and this has transformed me. And it awakens what's already in us. There's like so much in us we don't even realize. So it's, as I said, it's purifying us, and so much realization comes, and so much happiness and peace. Just reciting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just do that over and over again. I do it 2 or 3 hours a day, but you can start 5-10 minutes. And take my guarantee. In 1 week, you will not be the same person. You will be a much better person, much happier, more satisfied. And also, maybe some of these things that you're doing that you want to give up, you'll find it. That bonds of that loosening.
Mm-hmm. Guru, can you also share a little about your retreats that you have and the
Yes.
courses, so people can...
So I have developed several courses and retreats. I developed a course on meditation, forgiveness. I have one on marriage. We have one on self-care, self-love, self-acceptance, on vows, on bhakti in general. And I do this so we can go very deep into one thing like that. What I just told you about forgiveness, it's like a little drop of what we can go. And when you go very deeply into something, you get so much out of it. And it's different from reading a book, because you're there with other people who are also exploring and going through their own issues, and you get to work with them and hear about it and help
their
one.
Experiences.
Oh, it's just amazing. And then we do retreats in India.
Okay, what part of India? Where do you have the next
Vrindavan.
Retreat? Vrindavan.
Yeah, the most holy place in India. February 15th we have a retreat. We'll give you more information. Yeah, we go very deeply into our bhakti practice.
Okay.
It's amazing, yeah. It's quite life-changing to go to India and go to a retreat in India.
And especially with a good sangha.
Yeah, supportive people. And
yes.
you know why retreats are important is because you need to sometimes get out of your normal life. Because when you're busy and you just get caught up. When you go to retreat, you move out of that environment, and now you can look at your life from a distance, and you get objectivity that you can't get when you're in your life. Because you're in your life, it's kind of all like, I know I should do this. You get out of your life, you're in a retreat, and you look at it. Not only do I know I shouldn't do this, you get the inspiration to not do it, and the knowledge how not to do it and what to do, because you're not in the rat race at that moment. So it's really important.
Guru, thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. All your knowledge. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And to all of you who watched this episode, thank you so much as well. And I'll see you soon on the next episode of Amate con Locura. Namaste.